cast and crew of...
Jeeves, this is all getting a bit thick.
Yes, sir.
Cast and crew of Star Wars Outlaws. So everyone please introduce yourselves and your role on the game.
Yes, well, I'm Amberly Gonzalez.
By Jove, Jeeves, I think you and I should go along to that rock heavy metal concert tonight, headlined by those Sheffield blokes called Def Leppard. What do you think? What do I think, folks? Well, another cringe-tastic video for you today, and I've got to thank you guys for yesterday's video about the incredible review scores for Silent Hill 2 Remake 2024. There was some discourse in the comments, quite naturally, and I will say this, I think it was Gaming Bolt who said it, that when the game is released, it's entirely up to the players to see if they feel the same way in line with the reviews that have been posted online everywhere. So that's a very good point. In fact, Rad Brad, one of my all-time favorite YouTubers, is already playing the game on his stream or on his channel. So I'm going to go and watch some of that afterwards and see what he thinks. But again, some of the graphical fidelity and definitely, yes, it's not without its problems. But again, got to say to Bloober Team, they may have done a rather good job and obviously could headline the beginning of remakes. Silent Hill 1, obviously I neglected to say that yesterday because I was having such a great time. But do you know who's not having a great time at the moment, folks? Ubisoft, yet again. What's this story about? Well, funny enough, it's just surfaced today, courtesy of That Part Place.
Yes, hallelujah, it's the video show. And now, the man the BBC calls...
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
So monetization director, again, when you hear those dreadful words, you can't feel any sympathy at this point. We know what Ubisoft are like already. So this monetizing director is called Stevie Chessard, and he lashed out to gamers and fellow developers. So there you go, if you want to make enemies on both sides of the fence, well done, Stevie, not Balaceros, the once great golfer. So Ubisoft announced via a press release, because what other way are you going to do it, that it was downgrading its expected yearly net bookings to 1.95 billion euros, and that it would have around break-even non-IFRS operating income and free cash flow. Okay, it also shared that it had a softer than expected launch for Star Wars Outlaws. I can't imagine why, after its initial sales proved softer than expected from the very soft around the belly Stevie Chessard. And again, just to remind you good folks out there, Star Wars Outlaws only sold 1 million copies. I'm surprised that that many customers were gullible enough to actually buy it because of the brand Star Wars, which died a death when Kathleen Kennedy took over back in the day.
Yes, yes. In a very woman-centered world.
The company also delayed Assassin's Creed Black Shadows to February 2025, which, by the way, I don't think is going to happen. It's going to go well beyond that projected date, okay? Claiming it would provide additional time to further polish the title. So after a week after this press release, Chessard took to LinkedIn, where he lashed out at gamers and fellow developers for celebrating the demise of Ubisoft. Oh my god. She wrote, "I rarely post on social media because that's the usual cliche, isn't it, folks? But today, I'm sad. I'm so sad. Ashamed and sad." So he's sad and ashamed in the same sentence. I like it. The gaming industry is very rough at the moment, and we all know it because you're not a predator, Stebby. But seeing how gamers... I'm not a gamer. I'm a tourist. Oh, how dare I have a reaction or an opinion? On social medias, wishing ill fate to companies and people alike is very sad. This guy said 3 times over in the same paragraph, and not only towards Ubisoft. Even though it's always the vocal minority, who would that be, Stevie, that expressed themselves on social media, I was hurt and ashamed. He sounds like the Gloria Gaynor song, I Will Survive. That's what this dude in the closet, maybe, who knows? And ashamed to be part of this community. Except, you know, ingraining yourself in the community, dude, by going on social media and making this god-awful crybaby post. She then directed her anger at her fellow developers. Again, we have to paint Chessard with the female gender because quite clearly he seems to be crying me a river at the moment. What's even more revolting, it's coming on LinkedIn and seeing the same comments from people within my industry. Oh my god. On top of exposing yourself, is that the kind of inappropriate talk we're discussing here, Chessard? As clearly non-decent human beings, you are affecting thousands of employees that are already impacted by all the hate despite doing their best to deliver experiences, or in the case of Ubisoft, inexperiences. Oh my god, this guy's a full-time crybaby. How can you wish a company to fail simply because they do not cater to you or that the product does not please you is beyond me. All this guy is thinking of is how do I make my next quick buck? How do I monetize off this already shit product that they call Star Wars Outlaws? And oh, wait for it, the first black samurai ever to step foot in Japan in a game called Assassin's Creed Snados. So this is what Stevie looks like. I mean, the guy's an absolute bro Chad, isn't he? I mean, look at me with my big massive forehead and my very tailored French moustache. This will likely be lost on Chessard, stated that part place, but Ubisoft and many of his fellow employees are the ones pushing hate through their commitment to woke ideology. Couldn't have phrased it better myself even if I tried. Despite Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot claiming in the aforementioned press release, I want to affirm that we are an entertainment-first company, creating games for the broadest possible audience. Ooh, that's a shocker. And our goal is not to push any specific agenda, which is completely untrue because Hexy, the new rumored AC game starring a female witch who'll no doubt not look like Anne Bonny from AC Black Flag, will be ramping around town in Salem, destroying all men and having same-sex relationships because if she were hot, fit, with big titties and nice curves, I might be invested in that game, but guess what? I'm not, because they're going to make her like an ugly old pig that was left behind on Jeremy Clarkson's farm.
Yes, tomorrow you will be a poor Japanese worker with humble Japanese wife at your side.
Yeah, with a face like a pig.
On the company's diversity, inclusion and accessibility page, a statement from Rashi Sika, Ubisoft's Vice President of Global Diversity and Inclusion, says, for Ubisoft, putting diversity and inclusion at the heart of everything we do means providing an environment where employees can thrive, build open-minded communities, communities, where players can connect and create games that reflect the diversity of the world we live in. So again, Yves Guillemot said in the previous paragraph, we don't push any agenda, yet Rashi Sika has actually contradicted his viewpoint right there by saying we have to put everything that represents you. Again, when you look at the original Assassin's Creed games like Brotherhood, Unity, Assassin's Creed 2, oh my god, you used to have that disclaimer at the beginning that this game is put together but from people with different faiths, beliefs, nothing about ideology or if you identify as a teapot, none of that stuff. And you kind of respected the disclaimer. You thought, okay, so when I play this game, it's going to have the most accurate, respective aspects about a character, like Ezio Auditore, right? Differenza. You could have that, but oh no, now you can't have that. And I find it very hard to believe that Ubisoft are going back to remaking those games again, because once they do, they're going to put a different slant on it altogether and it won't be the same. I would say the original Assassin's Creed is still a joy to play. Sure, it's clunky, but at the time it dropped, man, it was a revolution in gaming, and it still looks great today. And it's still, when I first played it, I was like, wow, what the shit have I just unleashed? Oh my god. Tasika said, Sika Sika. Oh yeah, Sika Sika. We will not accomplish all these goals overnight, just as it takes years of iteration to develop quadruple A titles. That's what it should read. We will only become a more diverse and inclusive company by continuously improving. I like my reading of this massacring paragraph right here, which is absolutely driving me into a frenzy at the moment. And as you know, I've covered this in a previous video where we talk about all the push for ideology, how now they've got this mentorship program at Ubisoft, where if you're a woman or if you're a man who thinks as a woman, you can enroll right now and be part of the new creative team going backward at Ubisoft. Very interestingly enough, folks, there's a rumor going around at the moment that Tencent might be in discussions to buy out Ubisoft, maybe altogether. I know AJ investors are sticking their nose in as well and saying, how about making Ubisoft private? Now, the biggest concern I've got, and by all means, folks, I'm going to post my own pinned comment at the top of this video because I rarely ever do that, but I want to invite a discussion. If Tencent does buy Ubisoft, how much do you think they'll pay for them in the end? And more importantly, will we get franchises like Ghost Recon and Splinter Cell being revived and being brought forward as future franchises while the new stuff is still cooking behind the scenes? To be honest, my opinion, I don't think it will happen right away. I would like it to, because the biggest criticism, and I've always said this long before I was on YouTube, that Ubisoft do not listen to their fans. They listen to themselves. They listened to themselves when they had that, oh my gosh, the cryptocurrency, the NFTs in some of their games. Everybody rejected them. So Stevie Chessard, obviously a money manipulator of absolute currency and debauchery, is crying his tears out because he knows, or she knows, they might be out of a job very soon if these talks about buying Ubisoft goes ahead, because it's projected at the moment that I think 40% of staff may lose their jobs and they might end up going elsewhere in the industry. Does anybody ever lose their job in the gaming industry? If your resume speaks for your talent, you'll be snapped up by somebody else just like that. So what a big surprise, ladies and gentlemen. Stevie Chessard joined Twitter 2012, and guess what? They've locked their profile down. I can't imagine why. Oh, Stevie. Oh, let's have a look at his dreadful photograph right there. Oh my god. He looks better with the moustache. And that's the only compliment I'm paying him today. Sorry, paying her. The future of gaming, folks. And it doesn't look any brighter than I would imagine it to. It looks absolutely horrendous. So here I am, folks, on the LinkedIn page of Miss Stevie Chessard, and look at the comment section below. Stevie Chessard writes, from Sarah Machado, I'm not victim myself by accepting a diagnosis. That post is such a disservice. Of course, Chevy Sagard would actually agree, wouldn't he? And then Leon DeGrell, this is actually pretty funny actually, you should now go see what people are saying about you on YouTube. Your career is over, son. Wow, this guy is such a crybaby. It makes me laugh from here to kingdom come. But of course, folks, if you enjoyed this video today, make sure you give it a like. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. And I will say my usual thing, but before I do, make sure you watch the video I upload tomorrow. It might get a similar reaction to another video I made a few weeks ago, and I'm really excited about this one. You guys might not be aware of this particular thing I found online, and I hope you enjoy it. But I'll catch you catching me for the return of the next video.
Well, you can cry.